Welcome to the Diversity Connector podcast, where we explore the rich tapestry of human experiences. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and together as we dive into conversations that bridge cultures, challenge stereotypes, and celebrate the unique perspectives each of us brings to the table. Each episode is a journey through stories and insights from a kaleidoscope of voices, each sharing their colorful narrative. Whether you're at home, on the go, or just anywhere in between, you're now part of a community that values understanding, inclusivity, and the beauty of diversity. So plug in your headphones, get comfortable, and let's connect through the power of our shared stories. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Diversity Connector podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Diversity Connector. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Rejoice Obiora. So I'm from Nigeria and I'm currently in Nigeria. So I'm 25 years old and I'm here to tell you my story. What inspired me to do public health was my childhood days, growing up as a kid and seeing how women are not being given the necessary care that they needed, especially when they are pregnant or when they have actually delivered their child or their children. So seeing these things around me in my neighborhood where I grew up, and also seeing my mom to experience such things too while growing up, inspired me to go into public health. And at that point, I didn't really know what public health was because it was actually quite new. It was not as prominent as everyone these days knows. Almost everyone knows about public health now. But those days, it was not like that. So I actually ventured into public health by opting to study health education, BSc health education in school. So when I made that decision, I would say it was actually one of the best decisions I've ever made so far. I could still see the the shock expression on my daddy's face because he actually wanted me to be a medical doctor. So seeing the daughter opting for health education was quite discouraging. But I made that decision because I knew that I would do so much more as a health educator, unlike as a doctor, because you have the responsibility of taking care of your community. Saying that people were not well informed as to what to do when they're pregnant or during where to go to give birth to their babies actually inspired me to look into such need in my community. So that was one of the reasons why I opted for health education. So in the university, it was not really a smooth sail for me because I have to go through a lot of, hurdle through a lot of challenges that came my way in even while in school. As a student, I did my undergraduate in Nigeria in University of Nigeria. So that was where I did my undergraduate studies. So during my undergraduate studies, because actually the second child out of a family of six, yeah, I have five other siblings. Then if you add my parents, that was like eight. We are eight in our family. So I had that sole responsibility of taking care of myself, even as a student in school. So my dad would just kind of pay my school fees, but I have to be the one to sort myself out as a student in school. So I had to do some businesses even while in school so as to be able to kind of survive, right? So I ventured into a lot of things. I started writing at a very young age. So I could write assignments for people. I could write 10 papers. because I discovered quite early that I had a flair for writing. So needed to make use of my soft skills in order to kind of provide for myself. So I did a lot of writing while in school just to survive. And it's really quite interesting that despite all those, I was still able to come out with a first class, and not just a first class, as the best graduating student from my department, despite having to go through all this. It was not really an easy journey, because most nights I had a lot of sleepless nights trying to balance my own academic workload together with my little business I was running in the corner. So I was getting a lot of gigs because students will always want me to write for them. And while I was in school, it was not I had to use my laptop, and when my laptop got bad, I had to use my phone because those same papers you have to write, type them, and print them out. So that was what I was kind of doing to support myself as a student in school. So upon graduation, I did my NYC. So while doing that, I was thinking, what aspect of public health do I want to specialize in? So I now remember that the what inspired me to do health education was the need to help women within my community, right? So I decided to venture into sexual and reproductive health. So that's the aspect of public health I'm really much interested in, and I've actually taken a lot of courses, and my final year project was also on contraceptive, right? What I was also interested in. So when I left school, I knew that I had to further my education. But how I was going to do that, I didn't know. But being someone that is really resilient and very determined, I knew that I was going to do what I have to do to get to where I'm going to. So in order to do this, I started, looking online for opportunities, scholarship opportunities, graduate opportunities, and the likes. So while I left school, I got I was employed as a research assistant for one of my professors. So was also exposed to a lot of things in the public health field because she actually specialized in emotional and mental health. So I got to learn a lot working from her. I wrote a lot of conference papers and a lot of published articles. I even kind of wrote two health textbooks with her. So I helped her in editing and formatting and also researching and putting everything together. So being exposed to such, I knew that I needed to be in the academic space. And for me to be able to do that, I needed to further my studies. I actually got an offer in my school as a graduate assistant, but I knew that that was not what I needed, or that was not what I needed at that point in my life. So I started looking out for opportunities. Then I stumbled on this particular opportunity funded by the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Program in Lebanon. At first, I was a little bit skeptical. Why Lebanon? Response from people every time I tell them that, oh, my graduate study almost all the time. But why Lebanon? Why not? So I actually decided to go to Lebanon because of the rich curriculum. I had to check out the school. I checked out the program. It was a Master of Public Health, so it was a professional certification. Got other offers from the UK, and one was even on sexual and reproductive policy. But because I needed a professional certification at that point, and this was actually a reputable scholarship body, the Master, that was why I decided to go for Mastercard Foundation funding. So I remember telling one of my mentors, I told him that, I'm considering applying to this school, but it's in Lebanon. He wasn't like, oh, don't worry about that. That for Mastercard Foundation to be in Lebanon, that means it's safe. So that don't worry about your safety, just go and just apply. So when I now made up my mind to apply, another hurdle I faced was having to pay an application fee of $50. And as a Nigerian living in Nigeria, that was a whole lot of money. $50 for just an application fee. you're not even sure if you're going to get accepted. So I didn't really know how to overcome this hurdle. But being a determined fellow, I had to do all I have to do. So I reached out to the graduate coordinator, and I also looked more, I had to research more about the application process and everything. So I got to discover that, oh, they have fee waiver. They actually grant application fee waiver to their students. I applied. So after I applied, um, I got accepted. So after their admission decision came in, I had to wait for the scholarship decision. So I was like, okay, how am I going to go about this? So fortunately enough for me, I was shortlisted. So during the interview process, I aced the interview and I was given the funding. So on getting into the school, it was a little bit challenging because the academic system is quite different from the one I'm used to. So it was actually an American institution, and I don't know if you are familiar with American institution. You know that it's a very very competitive environment. So both the grading system and everything, so it's quite competitive. So I had to juggle this together with my responsibilities as a graduate research assistant, and also with other of my involvement in school too, because I was a research assistant, and I was also involved in a study with women in Lebanon. So this study was just with women migrant domestic workers. We were actually looking at how to help them improve their lives by kind of equipping them with the right skills that they need due to the kafala system that is predominant in the Middle East. It was actually quite an interesting research. And I was really happy when, at the end of the day, I graduated top of my class. And having to, while in school doing my master's, I had to kind of touch base with my home country, Nigeria, because I carried out my research in Nigeria. It was actually focused on adolescent and young people living with HIV in Nigeria. And this research was funded by UNFPA Nigeria. And okay, because they were the ones funding it, I had to be in their organization for like 4 months to carry out this study. And it was it was a very rich study, because at the end of the day, I got called upon by UNFPA, okay, to continue this even post graduation. Then talking about, okay, what do I intend to do with all this? Yeah, currently I'm working as a project officer in one of the social enterprises in Nigeria, more like a health consulting firm. Okay, and kind of we're working on a project, including grant writing and a lot of things. And being someone that really loves to study, I really I want to further my studies. I'm still looking forward to doing my PhD. Yeah. So, and I have plans on the way for that. Because I'm looking at looking at going to the US or Canada, and I have some schools in mind. I'm also reaching out to, and there is actually green light. Yeah, because in life, when you are really determined to do something, like everything works for you to ensure that you get there, and you just have to keep pushing, even if you encounter any challenge, any difficulty. It just fuels your passion, right? Because you know that you've come too far, and going back is not an option. Yeah, it's definitely not an option.
That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It sounds to me that you were very, very determined and clear about what you wanted. Your father, like most African fathers, wanted you to be a doctor. I know that's a pressure that a lot of young African students have from their parents. It's either you're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. What made you so strong to decide to hold on to this vision and this dream?
Okay. Thank you, Gertrude. Um, Not okay. I actually knew that being a medical doctor would be limiting for me because of the impact I want to make. And as a child, I didn't know that I could actually still navigate career paths, you know. So, but I just knew at that point that going into studying medicine and surgery is not the right thing for me to do because I don't really like the sight of blood, kind of being in the operating room, having to do all those things. So I knew that that was not my calling. So, but I also knew that I was really empathetic. I was really empathetic, and I was really concerned with how people feel and keeping them informed because as a young girl, I read a lot of books growing up. Despite my environment, I was not limited at all. Then I also knew one important thing that I can talk. So I knew that being in the operating room is not the solution. It will not be the right thing for me to do. So I had to
It was
venture
going
into
to
health.
limit you.
Yeah, it was limiting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And the other thing that I admire about your story is you didn't let the lack of resources
Mhm.
limit you.
Yeah.
You didn't even have the money for the application, but you went ahead and applied, then found out that they had this exemption, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So, if there is another young student who's listening to this podcast right now, she doesn't have money, doesn't know how to get to where she wants to go, what three nuggets of wisdom or advice would you give her? What would you have
Okay.
wanted somebody to have told you before you started on this journey?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. The number one thing I would tell her is to have a plan of where she is going to or where he is going to. So you have to have a plan. So I would say that you should have a plan of where you are going to. So you just have a clear picture of where you are going to. Then the second thing is having that plan is not enough. You have to take actionable steps you are taking to ensure that this plan is being executed. Because while I was doing my application, I didn't have a laptop then because my laptop that I used in school, in college, was already spoiled. I didn't have a laptop. I had to do everything with my phone. And not just that, yeah, my
Wow.
phone, the screen was even not too good because I fell down one day and it broke. So,
Oh,
there was a lot of issues, a lot of things to kind of make me not to want to. But because I had a plan, I had a clear picture of where I was going to. And
mm,
I knew that I need to do this because if I don't, no one is going to do it for me. And there is nobody anywhere that is willing to kind of rescue me, right? And the third thing is have faith in God because in as much as I did all I could do, I knew that
yeah.
there is a higher source, right? So you have faith in God, but there is a greater power. There is someone holding the universe. And in as much as you've done your own part, he will be the one to direct you. Okay, why not apply to this? Or have you tried this? Have faith. Faith that, oh, my applications will be able to pull through. I will get in. Okay, even when you get in, okay, having faith that you can do it. Faith is not just in God, also in yourself. Because I resumed school 1 month after the semester have started, but I knew that I
Hmm.
had a lot of work to do. So I had to be determined. I had faith in myself that, oh, I can do this. It was different from my educational background. The system was different and everything. The grading scale was way higher than what I was used to. Where I was coming from, it was 70. Where I got to, it was like for you to make A, you have to have like 87. And 70 was not even a pass mark where I
Wow.
was. So, like, it was a whole lot of effort. I had faith in myself and I had faith in God. Yeah, thank you.
I love it. So, tell me something. Prior to you venturing out and going to Lebanon, you had gotten involved in quite a number of influential positions. Tell me how you got involved with the United Nations Population Fund.
Okay. My involvement with United Nations Population Fund was actually while as a student in Lebanon. So I didn't get into that before prior to going to Lebanon. So
Hmm.
I got in there because of the kind of study I needed to conduct. UNFPA is an organization that is really invested in youth. So in Nigeria, they're actually the lead agency for youth in Nigeria. So I wanted to carry out a study on adolescents and young people living with HIV.
Right.
So I had to do that, using their network, their connection, because these people are actually vulnerable groups, and it's really hard to tell who has HIV or not. So I
Yes.
needed them to connect me to the right organization, the right network, the HIV adolescent and young people living with HIV network, because they have a network in Nigeria. So they connected me and to the network, and I had to conduct the study. Yeah.
Wow.
So currently we are trying to scale up the study because during my master's program, the study was conducted in just 2 states in Nigeria, and I was the one leading the whole process. So currently we are looking at expanding to 4 states in Nigeria, because it's
Yes.
a need assessment. We want to get to understand them, like hear their voices, get to know what do they like, what is it that they need, not what we think or what we feel that they need. In public health, they always tell you the importance of bottom up approach. You get to
Yes.
understand the people you are reaching out to know what exactly they need. So that's what this study is all
Love
about.
that. This is just so inspiring. So tell me some of your experiences living in Lebanon as a young African woman. What was the culture shock? What was the thing that was the most different from things at home?
Living in Lebanon is actually it was a whole lot, because in Lebanon, most of the Black women that you see in Lebanon are mostly migrant workers. We
Hmm.
call them women migrant domestic workers. So it was really, getting to the school I attended, American University of Beirut, is actually the best in Middle East, and not just in Middle East, the best in Lebanon. And I had a lot of rich kids in school. Most of my classmates, they came from very elite homes, right? And it
Yes.
was really shocking for them to see a Black person in their midst, because they are used to seeing a Black person, as their nanny, as their helps and other stuff. So it was quite shocking for them. And in class, when you answer questions, they turn, they look at you, because they don't see that, they don't expect you're a Black person. Number one, you are in school, and the second thing, you're even answering questions, right? Then when you go to the streets of Lebanon, they see you as a harlot. As far as a Black woman, they assume that, oh, you're a harlot, right? Because most of them, in order to survive, they resort to prostitution and the likes. I could still remember one certain time I boarded a taxi. I told the driver, "Oh, I'm going to this place." He kept saying, "Hotel, hotel, which hotel?" Which... So
Oh,
it was
wow.
quite embarrassing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't have my internet. I didn't have internet on my phone. That was why I decided to use a taxi, right? So it was really embarrassing trying to explain to him, okay, this is where I'm going to. And he kept
Yeah.
saying, okay, which hotel, which hotel? And he would stop by to ask people about hotels around where I was going to. So
Oh,
that
mm,
was really embarrassing for me. And okay, and not just that, most of the migrant women, because I actually did a study on that with one of my
mhm.
professors. So we worked with women migrant domestic workers. So we were able to get to hear their stories. It's not something nice. Yeah, because of the kafala system they practice in Lebanon. So when you come in as a Black person to Lebanon, you come in under sponsorship. They call it sponsorship. So you
Right.
by the law, you like a modern day slavery kind of a thing, right? So you are not protected by the law, and your sponsor is the one that kind of has to decide when you go out, what you eat, kind of controls your life. And in most cases, they take their passport from them, their residency permit from them, and the likes. And that's why most of them kind of escape from their sponsors. And when they escape, they resort to prostitution to survive. So when you walk down the streets of Lebanon or Beirut, because I was staying in Beirut as a young girl and you're a black person, they assume that, oh, this is another migrant worker walking down the streets. So you get to hear some derogatory statements like tick tick $1. That's come have sex with me for $1. Like tick tick, it won't take
Oh,
time, stuff like that. So
wow.
so so you need, and in the school environment it was really different because it was an American institution, and we
Right.
have a lot support. And uh one of the things that really helped me was because I had a very strong African community.
Yes.
I knew that I was not alone, and it made me to actually have a rethink about these women. So it
Yeah.
made me kind of feel their pain. So if I can go through this, not even I'm just a student, right? So I
Yeah.
could really tell what they are going through. And for them, it's actually worse because you can't decide to leave because they won't even allow you to leave. You
The
have to live with
passport.
your passport and everything, and your sponsor have to sign that, okay, yes, I'm the one allowing her to go. So you see, most of them, they are stuck. They've been there for like 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, they haven't touched base with their home country. So
That's very, very sad. Now,
yeah.
you started or got involved with this anti-racial movement. Tell me about that and what was the motivation behind it?
I actually got involved with anti-racial movement. So because of the study I conducted with my professor, so my
Hmm.
professor actually got a funding with International Labour Organization (ILO). So
Uh-huh.
and when she actually put out an advert for a research assistant, I have always been interested in women's health. So I applied, I was interviewed, and I got in. So, and because of that, we had to partner with because anti-racial movements, they work with women migrant domestic workers. They not
Okay.
just the women, even their husbands, and the African community, because most of them, we are mostly from different African countries. Although we had
Yes.
some of them from Nepal, from Sri Lanka, from Philippines, and from Bangladesh. So, but majority of them were mostly Ethiopians and people from other African countries. So
Okay.
I had to my Saturdays, despite my busy schedules, I had to go they have kind of NCC with these women, to tell them more about their rights, because most the documents that they sign when they come in is in Arabic, because that's more
Oh,
like the national language, right? Yeah.
yes.
And most of them, they don't speak Arabic, they don't even understand Arabic.
So there's a
So
language barrier there as well. And did you speak
yeah,
Arabic yourself?
no, I don't. I speak
Ah,
English. So yeah. So because my school, you have to know how to speak English. So English was a requirement. Yeah. So
okay.
we kind of translated the document to English, and we started explaining to them what the document. So, and not just that, we were also teaching them how to survive, because you can't tell
Yeah.
them to leave their sponsors, right? You just have to help them to go through what they are going through without breaking down. So that was what I was doing most Saturdays. So I got to see some African people from Africa, and also from people from other countries too. So because
Okay.
the study we conducted was a participatory action research. So we needed to hear their voices, we needed them to tell their own stories. And it
Yes.
was a whole lot of process for us, and it took time. It led to the extension of the funding. because the timing, getting to teach them, what research is all about, teaching them how
Mm-hmm.
to conduct interviews, and they were the ones that actually conducted the interviews with the women from their own country. So we taught them how to code, we taught them how to transcribe. So it was a whole lot of, they were all happy because, when you see that you can actually do something, but you've not been able to do it all your life. So I could
Yes.
remember one woman from Kenya. She said that she's so happy. She told me, Rejoice, I'm so happy that I can do something. I've learned a lot just coming here every Saturdays, because we were giving them stipend for transportation and the likes. So
Right.
we taught her how to use the laptop, desktop, and also how to type and a lot of things. Like, it was an enriching session for them, and they were also equipped with the right knowledge on you know where to seek help, where to go if they need any kind of help, right? So we provided all this basic information for them.
Oh, wow. You did a lot of work. There's a lot of people who are stuck because of
Yeah,
the need to leave their home countries, try and make a living. So thank you so much for the work you're doing there. That is just amazing. Well, I'll tell you, I have met a lot of feisty young women. I can see that the future is very, very bright for you. Good luck with everything. So, how can we as a community support you? What is your next big goal?
okay. My next big goal is to, currently I'm actually working with some group of young adolescents, and young people living with HIV. So I carried out my research, the need assessment. I actually found a lot of things, and I didn't just want to just publish and just throw it everything just like that. So I had some interventions up that I actually want to kind of implement. But prior to that, before that, I'm currently working with them, with other young people from other states, in Nigeria, to get to also hear their stories, about
Yes.
their challenges living with HIV, their challenges within their community, and also how we can help them, to become more adherent to, so as to suppress the viral load. So we are still working on that with them, and with hope that we'll be able to implement our findings kind of through an intervention. So,
Okay.
and apart from that, the next plan I also have is also to get a PhD. I said that earlier because I know that it will better position me in my career path, right? Yeah, as a public
Yes.
health person.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And where are you planning to do your PhD?
I'm looking at Canada and the US. So I've reached out to some professors. I've got a lot of positive feedbacks. Yeah, it's just to start the whole application process. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck with that. And do keep us posted. Let us know how you do. We would love to see how we as a community can support you on your journey as well. So keep in touch with me and yeah, let's see how we can help you manifest your next big dream. Just don't give up. Keep on keeping on. Absolutely
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Rejoice. Now,
Thank you
how
so
can
much.
people contact you? What is the best way for people to contact you?
Was email. I will drop my email address, obiarejoice@gmail.com, or
Put it in
via
the private
WhatsApp.
chat for me.
Yes, it's a
Put your
private email address. Yep.
put put your email in the chat for me so I can share it now.
Okay.
Then it will go with this video. So if
Yeah.
anybody out there would like to sponsor, support this dynamic young woman to do her PhD in Canada or the United States, please reach out. The Diversity Connector is looking for sponsors, looking for people who are inspired to make a difference in whatever way you can. So, this is Rejoice's email address. Do reach out to her. Let's make sure that this platform creates a bit of magic and she can come back when she's done her PhD and share that success story with us as well. So good luck with everything, Rejoice. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Diversity Connector is connecting you with some phenomenal people, amazing young men and women who are out there in the world forging their futures. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye for now. Thanks again, Rejoice.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now, everybody. And that's a wrap, everybody, on today's episode of the Diversity Connector podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our vibrant and global conversation. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a tapestry of diverse perspectives. Remember, every story you've heard today is a thread in the larger fabric of our shared humanity. So, as you step back into your world, carry these stories with you and let them inspire you to embrace and celebrate the rich diversity around us. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these inspiring stories with more listeners. Do follow us on social media by looking for the Diversity Connector podcast for more updates. Until then, keep connecting, keep listening, and keep celebrating the beauty of diversity. This is the Diversity Connector podcast signing off. Stay curious, stay open, and definitely